Okay, so we're now on to match 1 of my league. We're running a heavier green splash than we have been for a while. As quickly mentioned in the deck tech, we're still not on the full Misty Bayou mana base. We're still kind of hoping that the ground seals prove to be unnecessary. And they're not going to. We're still wondering whether or not we're cutting them. So I haven't purchased the other cards yet. So we're going to probe, and we're going to see Elves. We kind of almost want to see a therapy here. Instead, I think we're just going to play an island. I guess we'll hold off to brainstorm until next turn. We're not in a mad rush. And then if we don't find what we're looking for, we will... So we're just a ritual short right now, killing basically. And if we don't find what we're looking for, we'll probably duress them just in case they've drawn business. And yeah, better to be lucky than good. We naturally draw a ritual. We need one more storm, so we're just going to fire off the brainstorm here. And I guess we'll just play out a combo. This is just going to be an easy turn 2 deterministic Past in Flames kill. I guess we didn't actually need to fire off the brainstorm there. Now I think of it, we're going to be able to we would have been able to flash back the probe. So regardless one way or another, we had enough action to go off. And I guess we'll probe before we tendrils just to get one last look at the hand in case there's anything weird and wonderful that they've drawn. And yeah, no, it's just looks like a fairly clean, fairly stock Elves list. So that's game 1 out of the way. Game 2 and 3 is where this gets a little bit harder. So we're going to cut our therapies. They don't do a huge amount in the matchup. Redundant mana-producing creatures are not good targets for a Cabal therapy. We'll cut 1 Past in Flames because they will have graveyard interaction. We're going to want 2 Flusters to deal with things like natural orders. They often get choked on mana on their combo turns. And we're going to want a couple of Echoing Truths that deals with Rurik Thar or just random hate permanents. As possibly Echoing Truths could be Ground Seals. I have heard that Ground Seal is reasonable in the matchup. Now this hand is something that I'm almost hesitant to keep. I don't like having Tendrils in my opener, especially against a deck that I know will be bringing in Thoughtseize, Therapy, and Surgical. So if they take Tendrils and then manage to draw a Surgical at any point, we're out of the game. On the flip side, we do have to keep it because it's actually quite a reasonable hand otherwise. So we'll probe turn 1 to decide whether or not we need to duress them. And then we'll go from there. That will of course depend on what they take here. It's probably correct to take Tendrils if they have Surgical, Preordain if they don't. And it seems like he's just having a little bit of trouble making up his mind. Okay, so it seems like he does have the Surgical here. Or he's building towards the Surgical. So he doesn't have it. But he will Visionary next turn, I suspect. So we're okay. So I think we need to find... We don't want either of these, I don't think. Not right now. So I think we want to draw something like a Brainstorm next turn. Okay, so there's the Visionary. So he's now got 2 cards in hand that we don't know. And we're drawing garbage at the moment, unfortunately. Okay, so we're glad we duressed there. We're going to take the natural order. And we're leaving him with a hand that doesn't really do much. And so he's just going to get to... He's not playing anything out, which is interesting. Okay, so we've got no reason not to go off here. We're just going to add Nauseam and not dick about and just hope that he hasn't drawn exactly Surgical in the past couple of turns. So this isn't looking great for us. We've got no mana floating. So right now we need a Past in Flames or a Petal. So Past in Flames will do it. Okay, so that hesitation is a little bit concerning because we're currently not sure whether or not he is considering scooping or whether or not he's drawn the Surgical. Or whether or not he's just trying to figure out whether or not we can actually kill him from here. In case he's not super familiar with Storm, he might not be able to see the line. Now, if he does have the Surgical and waits too long here... Okay, so he's paying costs, so yep, there we go. There's Surgical Extraction. On Dark Ritual, of all things, which also loses us the game. We'll keep this hand. This seems fine. It's a little bit slow, but we've got business, we've got mana, we've got a probe that can hopefully draw us into something interesting. And we see a Mindbreak Trap. So we're going to need to play around that. We're glad we left Duress in. So we'll bottom the Mire and we'll keep the Brainstorm. We're going to hope for the Brainstorm to find us, to fix our hand a little and find us Duress to take care of that Mindbreak trap. He's also got a couple of glimpses. Alright, so he's got a Therapy. He will probably hit. I can't imagine that he doesn't name Infernal Tutor or Dark Ritual. And okay, he names Lion's Eye Diamond. So this is shaping up reasonably well at the moment. Okay, we draw a Decay, which I think we might want to hold on to. We can shuffle away an Island and an Infernal Tutor, I think. And play a Tarn. And when he plays a threat, decay it. So we'll just go ahead and fetch. We'll just grab an Underground Sea. And we will get a Ponder. So we'll do that off the Volk. And I think we need to shuffle this. Because we need either another cantrip. Okay, we probably should have shuffled. So he's not got a lot going on, really. And he's got a weird looking Gaia's Cradle, which I assume is one of the promo ones from a treasure chest or something, but it's definitely kind of ugly. So he's a little bit in the tank here, so he's obviously got something he wants to try. Okay, so he's just cycling a couple of glimpses. Okay, and he's going to play a Symbiote and draw 2 cards. And I think we're going to go ahead and decay that now, as that's one of his engine pieces for him to go off with. It's obviously a lot less likely that he's going to go off now, given he just cycled 2 glimpses. But also by, I think, hitting the Symbiote there, we also help keep him off Cradle mana. We haven't seen what's going on in his hand for a while, so it's quite possible he's drawn something that... Okay, so Zenith for 2 is a bit of a worry. That could... Okay, so it's just a Visionary. And so we're very glad we decayed the symbiote now. So we'll just fire off the brainstorm. Hope to hit a duress. Instead, what we actually hit is if we put back something like a Cabal Ritual and an Infernal Tutor. So what we're going to do here, we know about the Mindbreak Trap in hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to Dark Petition to bait the Mindbreak Trap. And there we get it. And so from here, we can now play out both our Cabal Rituals and our LED. And go for natural tendrils. And the only thing that kills us here is if he's drawn another Mindbreak Trap exactly. And unfortunately he did. So I just want to talk about this for a moment, because this made me very angry at the time. Just because he's drawn 4 cards since we last saw his hand with no filtering, and he's found exactly Mindbreak Trap. Which is, you know, the worst case scenario for us. Having said that, I'm 100% confident I made the correct play here. We played around a single Mindbreak Trap. We had no good reason to play around a second. He's probably playing 2, and the odds of him finding both are pretty slim. In fact, 4 cards out of 50 last time that we saw his hand. Having said that, one thing that we should have done here is we shouldn't have ever cracked the LED, because if we didn't crack the LED and we waited 2 turns, we actually killed him anyway. Unfortunately, we don't from here because we won't have enough mana. So we put back a tutor and a ritual on top of our library, which means that, yeah, if we can literally pull another 2 turns together, we would be able to draw our ritual, draw our tutor, and go off again with the Past in Flames. Obviously, just assuming that he hasn't drawn surgical or anything. So, while we did make a small mistake here, which is one just out of habit, which is cracking the LED upon resolution of the tutor, everything apart from that, I think, was correct, despite the fact that it did end up losing us the match.